Hello, everybody. My name is Elijah, and today we're gonna play Kyle is Famous by John Siminis. I can't pronounce that. Okay, well, I already played a little bit just to get it started and figure out what I'm doing. But yeah, we'll just get started, and hopefully we can get through all the endings. Kyle wakes up. He is famous. Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man. I feel you. Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields. Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet. Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is kind and a lovely philanthropist. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions wisely. Alright, and now we begin the game. Alright, so Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Either exit the bed or wither away. When I originally played this, I chose wither away. I'm going to do that again, actually, because Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Aw, shucks. Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities, so he has to get out of bed again. See, like that, you get a little ghost thing. I think that's so cool. Kyle exited out of his bed and glanced around his room. Kyle made his way over to the desk and sat down. Check the drawer. Kyle opened the side drawer in his desk and grabbed one of the items sorted there. A smoky. Let's write notes for the interview. Am I a mother? Kyle wrote down his second question. Have ever eaten a raw egg whole? Kyle wrote down his third question. I purposely ran over a puppy. Are you guilty? Kyle wrote down his last question. Kyle made his way over to the desk and sat down. Back. Okay, let's exit the room. Move to kitchen. Do we want to eat? No, we don't want to eat. We're a ghost, so we don't have to. Let's leave apartment. Kyle walked into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Visit downstairs neighbor. Yeah, why not? Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Kyle expectantly. Conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. Ask Gabby about Gabby. Gabby, tell me about yourself. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't do much around. I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay here, right here. Gabby glared at Kyle. Convinced by Gabby's statement, Kyle bid her goodbye and returned to the street. Kyle walked into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Is it text store? Kyle walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cut-out mascot with flashing lights. Steal Techno Jim. Quickly before the tenant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to pull upwards forcefully. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, forcing one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring bewildered, and ran outside. Kyle walked into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Sitting across from his host's chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile quickly turned to a shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Oh, that's hilarious. Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone. Kyle prepared by being a nudist. That was beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna try and get the exit that I got when I first played this. It's gonna be really easy. Basically, what you do is in your first decision, you wither away again. Aw shucks. So I guess you have to get out of bed. And I opened the closet, so that was smart. I chose an outfit. Definitely, I chose a suit of armor. I'll just do a slick suit. Let's see. What else did I do? Okay, so I went to go scavenge. And I listened for gossip.
What are you
So what happened was Kyle firmly pressed his ear onto the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. I heard Rachel May is going out on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more. Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers. There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened and someone exited the neighbor's apartment. That's quite enough. Okay, so now what I'm going to do... Okay, I didn't do this last time, but I want to do it because I think it's going to be interesting. I want to see what happens. I'm going to exit the hall room bedroom. Leave apartment. I'm going to visit my downstairs neighbor. So Kyle approaches downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Kyle expectantly. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. So I'm going to ask Gabby about being a vigilante. That's cool. Gabby, asked Kyle, are you the bug vigilante? For a moment, Gabby looked stunned, but then she realized his seriousness. Gabby nodded once. The door shut in Kyle's face. What? That's it? I was expecting something more. So I'm going to return to my apartment, I guess, move to the kitchen. Open fridge. Crust on fridge's wall. Let's eat the fridge. Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device. He started to swallow. And one... Oh, you can hear it. That's disgusting. What is this game? In one slow, horrible moment, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat. After many gurgles, pops, and snaps, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out. Kyle hurried to set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Okay, we've read that. Rachel smiles. Good evening, Kyle. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded. Okay, I did this one, but I'm going to scream and spin in circles. Kyle started to stretch out his arms wild and tilted his neck upwards and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was... dang it. And was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. After a moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. So I can start the broadcast. What I did was I gossiped about the neighbor. So that's what I'm going to do again. Good evening, everybody, said Kyle. My neighbor is a bug vigilante. With nothing more to say on the matter, he fell silent. Rachel, also on the camera, stared at her hands and wondered when she was going to be introduced. The producer started cutting to different camera angles to break the tension. Kyle continued to remain silent and stared forward blankly. After several minutes, neighbor Gabby walked onto set. Hi, everyone, she said, smiling hollowly. My name is Gabby, and I am not a bug vigilante. False, Kyle said at Gabby, and then returned, just staring forwards. This guy is exactly like Dwight. I love it. At least the way I made him, he's like Dwight. Gabby began to reply, but was interrupted by a bug-shaped intercom on her belt. Bug girl, it squawked. A robbery is in progress on East 3rd. Report immediately. Gabby threw the intercom on the ground and crushed it under the foot. After a beat, she spoke again. Something has come up suddenly, and I must go. Gabby left the set. Well, said Kyle, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Rachel. Kyle got up, shook Rachel's hand, and walked past the cameras, leaving her alone. Not knowing what else to do, the producer ended the broadcast. In the coming days, fans of both Rachel and Kyle dubbed this show as a masterpiece of television. Stay Up Late with Kyle's online pages were updated to reflect this broadcast as the most popular ever. Kyle's producer later tried to have Rachel on the show again, but she was very, very, very busy. Yeah, so that's the one I did. So that's why I haven't unlocked another ending. I have 2 still. So yeah, good for you guys to know. And I learned something new too. So I'm going to see if I can keep exploiting that. So I've lived away like every time I played this. So I'm going to exit the bed. I'll be a human. So Kyle exited the bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Let's open the closet. Let's choose an outfit. Jeans and swimming goggles. Kyle decided to fashion on a fashion-forward, casual style. He could barely see out of the goggles. I'm gonna scavenge now. I don't need to gossip. I already know what happens if I do that. So I'm gonna go for eat. Yeah. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for bugs. Ooh. Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. He had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive. Save for later use. Ooh. Stashed the wriggly mass for later use. Back to the bedroom. All right. This time I think I'm actually gonna interview. I'm actually gonna interview her, Rachel. So, am I a mother? Ever eaten a raw egg whole? I purposely ran over a puppy. Are you guilty? Perfect. That's the one we usually do. I just want to see what happens. Okay. Back to room. Let's exit the bedroom. Let's leave apartment. Visit the tech store. I'm gonna buy batteries with change. I don't know what that'll do. Ask for a free sample, I guess. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample. Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant to spare parts and held it out. Grab a thief. Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several teeth holes in the screen. Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever. I guess I go back to set. Okay, so as Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded, I've done that one. I don't need to do that. Answer politely. And I as well, Rachel, answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. You're the most welcome guest. Shake hands. After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. And the music starts. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle, introduced Rachel. Tonight, I have a pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. In response, Kyle collapsed on the floor. From a combination of stressful preparation and not eating anything, Kyle had passed out. Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle back in... Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved. After a while, they ended the broadcast, shutting off the lights, and went home. Kyle was left face first on the floor. Alright, well, I think I'm gonna have to end it there. Okay, we'll keep going in the next episode. See you guys then.